No Box Dance presents Dance Behind the Screen, Process Production, and Social Media. Don't forget, say no to the box. Dile no a la caja. 고정관념이란 상자에서 벗어나세요.
Welcome back to Dance Behind the Screen podcast. This is your co-host, Azaria, and I am the Manager of Resources and Archives for No Box Dance.
This is Raina, your co-host, and I am the Manager of Community Engagement for No Box Dance.
This is your co-host Yejin, and I am the Programming Director for No Box Dance.
This is your co-host Marthea, and I am the Managing Director for No Box Dance.
Andreas Strand Renberg is a filmmaker, musician, actor, and curator. He has worked as an actor for several theater companies in Norway and Europe, and has composed and produced music videos for various projects in performing arts and film. As a filmmaker, he has co-produced documentaries for the national broadcast NRK and a number of music videos. He submitted his first short film to NBFF, which is entitled Why I Dance, and was voted on by the jury panel and won the 2021 Visionary Award. As a result, he is on our jury for this year, NBFF 2022. In this episode, we talk all about this film, the difference between documenting, creating short films, and all kinds of filmmaking, everything in between. First of all, your short dance film, Why I Dance, was one of my favorite. I don't know if I should say that. I loved all the pieces, but that was definitely one that moved me to the core, and I had the pleasure of being one of the jurors for the documentary section. So I'm excited to have you today and to talk about Why I Dance and also your process of filmmaking. So to get us started, can you tell us a little bit about why you created Why I Dance?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm very happy that somebody liked the film because it's the first time I made a film in this scale. For me, it's 24 minutes, but for me that was a very large film. I started because I knew I wanted to make a documentary. I liked the work with documentary, and I had this idea that could be fun. And I am working on a festival in Norway, a performance festival. And in 2017, there was a French group performing, and one of the dancers was Louis Clement da Costa, the choreographer of the dance in the film Why I Dance. And on an after party, we had kind of a hip hop music, urban. It became some dancing, and he was really good to dance, also hip hop. And then we talked together, and I was like, maybe it would be so nice to have a more urban style dance to the festival. And he said, this winter I'm going to Rwanda, so I can let you know how it goes there. And so we went there, and when he was there, he sent me some pictures, and I started to think I would like to make also a film about how this performance is made and created. So we planned to go down then in 2018, where he was going to work further on this performance that he will come to Norway with, together with the dancers in Rwanda. So I was there 1 month filming the rehearsals and interviewing the dancers. And the week after I had the performance in Rwanda, we got a photographer to come down also, and we filmed the dance scenes around in Rwanda. It was later, when in the edit, that I realized that this is not so much a normal documentary, but it was a discovery to see that dance could also be a language in itself. And maybe so a big part of the editing process was cutting out interviews, cutting out all the information, and letting the dance speak for itself. It's still some information coming through words, but it was very nice to see this. And in the end, I was really getting drastic in the editing process to try to just.
Said that. I'm really glad you said that, because I was having a hard time. It's not your typical documentary. I think for us, it still felt like that category. But it's very interesting to hear you say how like dance was its own language, and that in itself was telling the story. And I really felt that communicated. The text that was there was definitely supportive. But you're so right that the movement was telling so much of the story. I'm just glad you brought that to like awareness and to the forefront of that particular discussion. And have you always been interested in like dance on film?
Yes, but I was very inspired from this. Yeah, everyone has seen it, the Wim Wenders Pina film, I guess. And there it's also it's really clear what they are saying sometimes, at least. But it's still completely another way of communicating, and this is what I love. Yeah. I have to say that of course the choreographer Louis and the dancers, this film was created also very much from them, and the way he worked with the dancers to find the movement through their style or their need to express whatever they wanted. This was also a big influence on how to think after in the editing.
Love that connection too with Pina, and I can definitely see. Oh, I'm sorry. I love that connection as well with Pina, because that particular film too, I can definitely see where maybe some of the inspiration or like influence could be there. Just really clear images that were telling these stories along the way. So another great connection. So you're saying that this was your first short film. Can you talk a little bit about how this experience was different from your previous experiences? I know you had talked about the length a little bit, but what else made making this short documentary different from some of your previous projects, like your music videos and other things?
A big difference was that it was a teamwork. I had never worked with a photographer before, and so to be on the set, I didn't really. I think next time when I am going to be a director, I hope I can manage to give more responsibility to the photographer and try to worry more about what is happening on the scene. You know, this was a bit confusing for me to not having the camera in my hands. You know, and also. It was very, of course, this time after the filming and the recording until the premiere. I think we finished filming in October 2018, and the premiere was this summer 2021. That time I have never spent, and I think it was very good because we did some edit, and then we had the choreographer and some other advisors to look at it and reflect, and then I thought I was very good. It was very good, and then I got some critique, and we had to change, and to have the time between and take a break from it and going back many months later. This was also a very new way of, because when I do a music video, I want to be finished quickly after. You know?
It was just interesting to hear you say like sitting and marinating on the project, because I do think that can be, depending on who you are, something when we're working, we want to see that work come to fruition, like in a maybe not something that takes 3, 4, 5 years. I guess the Pixar and like animators are used to that kind of time frame, but maybe some of us who work more with like the live arts want to see it on a quicker basis. Do you do a lot of storyboarding before you start your process, or are you not a storyboarder? I'm always curious to hear this from directors.
Yeah, so this was also very new because as I said, I have never made any films before. So when we were planning, the photographer was like, "Can you send me some pictures of the location? What are the costumes? We need to have the color palette, planned." I was like, I like to improvise and and take what is there. So absolutely, next time I'm now working on a new film, and I'm already storyboarding and planning and like naturally. But in this film, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to visualize something that I don't see in front of me.
Do you find that the storyboarding is helpful this time around?
I didn't think about. There are so many levels in a film. This is another thing that I learned. It was the work of sound and the force of sound, movement, and the music together. How strong it becomes when it get together. And to have instead of just doing that after, to have a plan of that, it's a creative process, and I think I enjoyed that. Also to test shoot or to listen to music before I record something, or to imagine and experimenting before you go there. I absolutely like that.
I'm sure that's very much the musician in you, right? You have your own band, so I'm sure the connection to sound was maybe a natural one that would come up for you.
I was afraid also to plan before, and now I kind of understood that if I make a plan, I can still change it. So to have a plan is good, because then you have something to fall back to, but you can still improvise, and that's very important to also be there and see what's there, and especially in this kind of very low budget films, when it suddenly can start to rain, or they're coming someone to say that you cannot film on this location, or I think just the planning now I realize it's a creative process. It's not in the head necessarily.
It's also amazing that you just said that was a low budget production, because it looks so highly produced. It did nothing about why dance looks low budget. So congratulations to you and the team for fooling us on that particular one. So what are some important ideas to keep in mind when documenting a lived experience? Because I feel like a lot of your work that I've seen on your website and with Why I Dance have this like really gritty but beautiful, like human condition. Like, it's not airbrushed or filtered, it feels kind of raw. What are some of the ideas that you keep in mind when you go to make some of these films?
Wow, that's a good question. The process of in the Why I Dance film with the dancers to understand their story, I decided before that I will not film any interview, but I did. I first talk with them when I recorded the sound very simply, just to have the sound. It was not meant for the film, and then later I sit down and I kind of took out what I want from them, and then we went to a better, like a silent place, and I had a very good microphone, and I asked them to tell again what they had already told me, and I like the reality, and so I am also now documenting as a group of old people living in a village in Dominican Republic that came here from like 40 years ago or more to work on the sugarcane fields. And I like to not or to combine, because I'm when you in that project I interview them on a black screen, and I have only their lived face in the frame, kind of, and we have a very concentrated atmosphere, kind of also what I did in the dance film, where it's very intimate, and I can have the trust from them, and we talk. and but I also like to just be out with the camera and get what's there.
What do you mean by like, when is the opportune moment to do that, to capture something on film?
Yeah, so the first film project I did was for Norwegian television. We were sailing from Greece to Caribbean for 2 years, and we had one camera in the sailboat, and it was like moving around between us and every time, and we filmed everything, and yeah, it was all like a cell phone. And now I'm trying to not do that so much. I was afraid that if you don't do it, if you don't film everything, you will maybe lose something. But I kind of like to if you can do the research still. You can, like, now I'm also working on the new dance film I'm making, also in Dominican Republic. I'm interviewing a lot, but I'm not recording it, just with the sound. And I'm talking a lot. I've been there now for 5 months, just talking and taking some pictures and doing the research. But I want to, when I really film and record, I want to more go in the way that I have the control and also because it's a more artistic project maybe. So I'm making the scene, but it's based on the reality. Yeah.
So I think that's the underlying statement for you, is like trying to capture reality, like however beautiful or gritty or it just kind of maybe honest is. I don't know. Some people feel weird about trying to use like capital T, truth and honest, but maybe those are some of the like values that you see, like when you look through the camera with, it's like your camera eye kind of situation.
The film Why I Dance, it was a plan to also be very conscious about the locations. What's interesting there was that because it was very difficult to and it's probably always difficult to go to a completely foreign country and tell a story that I had. To be 1 month in Rwanda and to tell the story of Rwanda or the Rwandan people is not possible. And then I was thinking, when I go down, I have to be very take care, so I don't make this typical cliche film about Africa like all us white Europeans do. So that was the idea in my head. And then I came down, and Rwanda was for me looking like Switzerland the first week. It's so clean, no plastic. These green parks, beautiful roads, and then we were going to film, and then I realized it's not possible to film in these nice places. Because I thought that we have to put this in the film to show that this is not Africa, like how Europeans imagine Africa,
and
an African
Americans
country.
And Westerners, yes.
But it was not possible to film there. So we had to go to the places where, like outside of the, because they don't want people to group in more than 10 people altogether. And when you film in these public spaces, there will probably come more people. And we were stopped many times by government officials dressed as in civil, threatening us and saying that they will maybe take our camera next time. They wrote down where the dancers lived.
Oh my gosh.
So we ended up filming everything in the backyard. So in the end, it became still this. That's the reason why we choose the location we choose.
Thank you for acknowledging that, because that's a big issue with how we portray maybe other countries, and especially those countries of Africa, And I didn't get the feeling that like, oh my gosh, here's like another pour, it didn't feel like that. And I think there were some cityscapes too in the film. So it's interesting to hear about that process of kind of negotiating and making sure you're being responsible when you're telling somebody else's story. That's particularly important. And another thing, I was kind of proud of myself, but I think the movement told where they were coming from. One of the dancers started doing like a traditional Rwandan dance that I recognized.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I wonder if this is in Rwanda. So I think it's also
very good.
that the movement was able to tell the location and not just the environment. So exciting. So we at NoBox, we're always really interested in social media and how that affects dance and dance making. So my question for you is, does social media influence any of your art making?
Yes, as inspiration, very much. I can get lost looking at like my Instagram. It's full of dancers or choreographers, also like photographers. My boyfriend, he's a TikTok artist, so I don't have TikTok myself, but I can see that in the TikTok world, it's also it's of course it's like a community where they are fighting to make the most creative dance move or cope with each other. The difference maybe for a film is that to have the possibility to have a dramaturgy, or when you have more time in a real film to have a story or a development to have all the different scenes that you will put together. I'm not sure if that's a danger in the social media or I don't know.
I think we're always trying to figure out the answer to that question as well. So for our final section, we have something called a Flash 4 round. I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and I want you to answer them in a flash, so as fast as you can. Are you ready to play?
Yes.
Flash 4.
If you had to recommend a resource to our audience, what would it be? So that could be a book, a podcast, a blog, someone to follow.
New York Times, The Daily.
Okay. What was the first dance you saw?
Oh my God. River dance, maybe.
River dance?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Do you think social media has a positive influence on the dance world? Yes or no?
Yes.
And what is your favorite social media platform?
Instagram.
Thanks for playing. So lastly, our tagline is say no to the box. And we like to ask all of our guests how they say no to the box. So you can interpret that how you want. But typically, how do you break with the confines? And we're also excited to be having you as a juror. So like as an artist and as a juror, how do you say no to the box?
I'm trying to listen to what I want myself and just follow it. And actually not relate to the box at all, but go from what I want. And that's when I can do a long project because I'm interested in it.
Yeah. And how can our audience stay in contact with you, Andreas?
They can follow me on Instagram if they want to. It's called Andreas Strand Renberg. They can follow me on my webpage. I think I will put up projects I'm working on later there. I'm not a very good social media person, but I try.
I don't know if that's true. I've been on your Instagram page and it's absolutely stunning. So
thank you.
Everybody does it a little bit different. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. It was a pleasure. I look forward to having you as a juror for NBFF 2022. And we will catch you next time, Andreas.
Thank you so much. It was very nice.
The Nobox Dance Film Festival, NBFF, is now accepting submissions for its 4th year as an independent film festival. NBFF seeks dance-related films that challenge the possibilities of what dance can look like in video form. NBFF has 3 categories for submissions. Summer short series, general, and documentaries. For more information and how to apply, visit filmfreeway.com/Nobox Dance Film Festival. KNOWBOX Dance Film Festival. Visit our website, knowboxdance.com, or DM us on social media.
Thanks for taking your time to tune into Dance Behind the Screen, a bi-monthly interview series where we go behind the screen to question process, product, and social media. Be sure to follow us on social media at KNOWBoxDance. See you next time, and don't forget to say no to the box.